Joe Namath, a legendary NFL icon of the 1960s, impressed fans with his extraordinary skills and bold personality. However, behind the fame, Namath's battle with alcoholism brought him significant trouble, casting a dark shadow over his career. But before we begin, make sure to subscribe. In the early years of Joe Namath's marriage, his battle with alcoholism continued to affect his life. Despite his success on the football field, his drinking habits became a growing concern at home. His wife eventually gave him a strong warning, telling him that if he didn't stop, he could end up breaking up their family. This wake-up call seemed to hit Namath hard, and by 1987, he made the decision to quit drinking. For a while, he was able to stay sober, but after his divorce in 2000, he relapsed and fell back into old habits. Things took a turn for the worse on December 20th, 2003, during a day meant to honor the Jets and announce their all-time team. Unfortunately, Namath had consumed too much alcohol before the event, and it led to a moment that would gain him some bad publicity. During a live ESPN interview at the game, Suzy Kolber asked Namath about the team's current quarterback, Chad Pennington, and the struggles they were facing that season. Namath began by expressing his confidence in Pennington, but then, in a moment of poor judgment, he looked at Kolber and said, "I want to kiss you. I couldn't care less about the team struggling." The incident quickly became headline news, embarrassing both Namath and his loved ones. Namath publicly apologized for his behavior, and just a few weeks later, he entered an outpatient treatment program for alcoholism. He later reflected on the incident, saying it was a turning point for him. In 2019, Namath explained that the embarrassment he felt after that moment pushed him to quit drinking for good. He said, "I had embarrassed my friends and family and could not escape that feeling. I haven't had a drink since." Speaking of his career, which made him a true star, in 1964, during Namath's senior year at Alabama, he faced a significant challenge that could have derailed his football career. In the fourth game of the season, he suffered a knee injury that lingered throughout the rest of the year. Despite the pain and damage to the cartilage in his right knee, Namath pushed through, determined to help his team finish the regular season undefeated. His resilience led Alabama to the Orange Bowl, though the knee injury continued to trouble him. That same injury later played a major role in his life outside of football, as it earned him a 4F classification in the military draft, meaning he was deferred from service during the Vietnam War due to his health issues. As 1964 came to a close, Namath found himself in the middle of a bidding war between the established NFL and the newly formed AFL, both eager to sign him. In fact, on November 28th, the two leagues held their drafts on the same day, each hoping to lure Namath to their side. He became a first-round pick for both leagues, selected 12th overall by the NFL's St. Louis Cardinals, and 1st overall by the AFL's New York Jets. When Namath sat down with the Cardinals executives to discuss a potential deal, he shocked them with his demands, $200,000 and a brand new Lincoln Continental. While the Cardinals initially hesitated, they agreed to meet his terms, but on one condition: he had to sign the contract before the Orange Bowl. Doing so, however, would have made him ineligible to play in the big game. Namath refused to let that happen. He wanted to play in the Orange Bowl, so he put off signing any contract until after the game. The day after the Orange Bowl, Namath made his decision. He chose to sign with the Jets under the guidance of their savvy owner, Sonny Werblin. The deal Namath secured was historic, $427,000 over 3 years, setting a record for the highest salary in pro football at that time. His larger-than-life personality soon started to capture attention, especially after offensive tackle Sherman Plunkett came up with the nickname Broadway Joe in 1965. The name stuck, especially after Namath appeared on the cover of Sports Illustrated that July, cementing his status as one of the most exciting and talked-about players in football. He became one of the most exceptional NFL players. In Namath's rookie season with the New York Jets in 1965, things didn't start out smoothly. The team struggled in their first 6 games, failing to win a single one while Namath split playing time with second-year quarterback Mike Taliaferro. However, once Namath became the full-time starter, the Jets' fortunes began to change. They went on to win 5 of their last 8 games in what was then a 14-game season. Namath's strong performance earned him the AFL Rookie of the Year award, marking the beginning of his rise to stardom. By 1967, Namath had truly made his mark in professional football history. He became the first quarterback to pass for over 4,000 yards in a single season, throwing for 4,007 yards over 14 games. At the time, this was an extraordinary feat and a record that stood for over a decade until it was broken by Dan Fouts in 1979 during a 16-game season. Namath's achievements were all the more impressive given that he was often plagued by knee injuries. Throughout his career, he had to undergo 4 groundbreaking knee surgeries, all performed by Dr. James A. Nicholas. Despite his health struggles, Namath continued to play at a high level. In fact, there were times when he had to have his knee drained at halftime just to finish a game. His resilience and talent earned him a spot as an AFL All-Star in 1965, 1967, 1968, and 1969. One of Namath's most memorable moments came in the 1968 AFL title game, where he threw 3 touchdown passes to lead the Jets to a thrilling 27-23 victory over the defending AFL champion Oakland Raiders. His outstanding performance throughout that season earned him the prestigious Hickok Belt, awarded to the top professional athlete of the year. Namath continued to prove his greatness, earning a spot in the AFC-NFC Pro Bowl in 1972 and being named to both the Jets and the American Football League's all-time teams. His legacy was cemented when he was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1985. Even long after his playing days were over, Namath's knees continued to affect him, leading to knee replacement surgeries on both legs, a reminder of the toll his football career took on his body. The highlight of Namath's career came in January 1969 during Super Bowl III, when he led the New York Jets to a stunning 16-7 victory over the heavily favored Baltimore Colts. This win came just before the AFL and NFL merger, and it was a big moment for the AFL. The first 2 interleague championships had been dominated by the NFL's Green Bay Packers, and most sports writers believed the AFL still had years to go before being truly competitive. In fact, the 1968 Colts were hyped up as the greatest football team in history, and even former NFL star and Falcons head coach Norm Van Brocklin mocked the AFL, claiming he judged Namath only after he'd played a real pro game. 3 days before the big game, Namath had grown tired of hearing people doubt the Jets and the AFL. At a sports banquet in Miami after being heckled, Namath made a bold statement: "We're going to win the game. I guarantee it." That guarantee quickly became legendary. Namath didn't just talk the talk, he backed it up. The Colts defense, which was considered one of the best, couldn't stop the Jets' running or passing game. Meanwhile, the Colts' offense struggled, throwing 4 interceptions. Namath played brilliantly, completing 8 passes to George Sauer Jr. for 133 yards. His performance earned him the Super Bowl MVP award, and the win made him the first quarterback to ever win a national championship in college, a major professional league championship, and a Super Bowl. This victory gave the AFL instant credibility, even among the skeptics. After the game, when reporters asked Namath if the Colts' defense was the toughest he had ever faced, he humorously replied, "That would be the Buffalo Bills' defense." The Bills, who were the worst team in the AFL that season, had intercepted Namath 5 times, 3 of those interceptions being returned for touchdowns in their only win in 1968. Injuries then started making things hard for him. In the early years of his career, Namath didn't miss a single game due to injury. But between 1970 and 1973, things changed. Namath played in only 28 of 58 possible games because of various injuries. After leading the Jets to division championships in 1968 and 1969, the team struggled with losing records of 4-10, 6-8, 7-7, and 4-10 over the next few seasons. One of Namath's standout moments during this time came on September 24, 1972, when he faced his childhood hero Johnny Unitas. The 2 quarterbacks combined for an incredible 872 passing yards in a single game. Namath threw for 496 yards and 6 touchdowns, while Unitas added 376 yards and 3 touchdowns. The Jets beat the Colts 44-34, marking their first win against Baltimore since Super Bowl III. This game is still remembered as one of the best displays of passing in NFL history. Another notable moment came in 1970 when Roone Arledge, head of ABC's televised sports, made sure Namath was featured in the first ever Monday Night Football game. The Jets faced the Cleveland Browns in front of a record crowd of 85,703 at Cleveland Municipal Stadium and a massive TV audience. Unfortunately, the Jets lost after Namath threw a late interception, and they set a team record for penalties. In 1975, the Chicago Winds of the World Football League tried to lure Namath with a lucrative deal. They even designed their uniforms to look like the Jets and offered him a $600,000 a year contract, a $2 million annuity, and part ownership of a WFL team. The WFL's television provider pushed hard to sign Namath, but when Namath asked for 15% of the league's TV revenue, the deal fell through. Without Namath, the WFL folded soon after. After 12 years with the Jets, Namath was waived in 1977 to make way for a move to the Los Angeles Rams. He hoped to revive his career, but was held back by knee injuries, a bad hamstring, and the toll of 13 years in pro football. Namath started strong, leading the Rams to a 2-1 record, but a brutal Monday Night Football game against the Chicago Bears left him battered. He threw 4 interceptions in the cold, windy, rainy game, and after that, he was benched for the rest of the season in favor of Pat Hayden. Namath retired at the end of the season. That is it for this one, but if you happen to like NFL legends, make sure to check out our latest videos on our channel NFL Icons. I'm sure you will love it.